Good day, classmates!
Good day, Sir Nationales.
And good day to all of the English speakers around the globe. I am Aljan Curtsy Ala,
And I am Cristel Janelle Aborita.
and we are your news anchors for today. Bringing you the most significant historical developments and more in the history of the English language in minutes. This is ALS 113 Time Travel News.
Your news are old.
For today's report, two of our field reporters, or should I say, period reporters, traveled back in time to gather information regarding on the Old English period.
That's right, partner. Using our newest technology that we regretfully cannot fully disclose the name of yet because the scientists who invented it might sue us. This isn't supposed to be public knowledge until 2015. They were able to not only physically travel back in time but also communicate with people from that specific time period. They will be joining us later on.
But before we get there, allow me to share what I have gathered about the Old English period. The form of English in use before the Norman conquest is sometimes called the Anglo-Saxon. There are different opinions about the exact period in which the Old English period begins. According to F.T. Woods, this period extends from about the year Anno Domini 600 to 1100. A.C. Bael, in his book A History of English Language, says that the Old English begins with the period from about Anno Domini 450 to 1150. So what is really the truth? Hopefully, our reporters will provide us some answers.
I hope so, partner. In addition to that, I have also read that Old English was a synthetic language, meaning it used word endings, inflections to show grammatical relationships like case, number, and gender, rather than relying on a strict word order like modern English, which is the English that we use today. Old English texts were also typically written on parchment or vellum. It would be really interesting to hear more about what the English language used to be, don't you think, partner?
I could not agree more. Wait! I just got a signal from our technical team. They have already successfully connected us to our friends, who are currently in another era right now.
Marimar, Christine, can you hear us?
Yes, Pristil and Aldran.
Hi Marimar! We would like to confirm first which part of the Old English period were you able to explore? Are you in the early Old English period or late Old English period?
I can confirm that this is the early part of the Old English period.
All right. We are going to elaborate on that later. But we would like you to answer a question that we raised earlier on the broadcast first. Have you heard our conversation?
Yes, Aldrin, I personally think both opinions are valid.
However, the invasion of Germanic tribes, Angles and Saxons, and the firm implementation of their language in the Britain formed a suitable starting point. I found out that they displaced the original Celtic inhabitants of Britain and gave it a new name, England, the land of Angles, and a new language, English, the language of Angles, therefore the birth of English.
It seemed like a ton of invasions are going on in there. I hope you're safe.
It is quite scary, but it is my job to uncover important truths. Thank you for the concern, Cristel.
Thanks to you too, Marimar. We are putting you on standby for the meantime to check on our other friend, Christine. Christine? Alright, it seems like there's some problem on Christine's end. We're going to come back to her later.
Going back to Marimar. Marimar, is there any notable information or experience that you would like to share to us and our viewers?
I am so glad you asked, Aldrin. Did you know that Old English texts are divided along geographic lines into Northumbrian, Mercian, West Saxon, and Kentish? These four are also the main dialects of English at this time period, meaning to say, Old English is not uniform. West Saxon is the most well-documented dialect as it was used for many surviving manuscripts.
Aside from that, you were right about asking me whether I landed on the older or later part of the Old English period. And speaking of Cadman's hymn, I was able to speak to the legend himself, the man who is considered the first English poet, Cadman. Thanks to our technologically advanced equipment, we were able to converse just fine, although it was just for a brief time. He was probably weirded out by the object that I was holding. We were able to take a picture of a portion of his work and send it to the 2025 headquarters. You must have received it by now, I believe.
What an amazing story.
Indeed. Let's check on our other friend again. Shall we, Christine?
Yes, Crystal and Alvin. I apologize for the delay. Me and my cameraman have attended the mass and it took way longer than the masses in 2025. We can't miss out on the opportunity.
No problem at all, Christine. As long as you will share to us and our viewers what you have gathered in your exploration.
It will be a pleasure of mine to do so. Marimar and I have separated ways while time traveling, so we ended up in different parts of Old English period. I landed at the late Old English period, and unlike the early Old English,
from sounding prose texts such as Alfred Orosius or the works of Alfred.
unfortunately, unlike Marimar, I was not able to meet any of these two legends. I only got to see their work through a gathering of their readers who got a hold of the work. Luckily, they allowed me to take a picture of it even though they look so confused and suspecting. Can't blame them actually.
That's indeed unfortunate.
But that's not all. Something interesting happened. Our equipment malfunctioned a few days ago and accidentally transported us to another time period. But the equipment failed to show whether we are still in the early or late part of the Old English. All I know is that a person approached us and randomly asked if they should push through their plans for writing a manuscript. And can you guess what they want their manuscript to be called?
I have no idea, but I am curious to know.
It's none other than Beowulf. And without hesitation, I said yes to them.
What a twist of fate. Little did that person know that their work will be truly legendary.
I almost spoiled it for them, actually. It was a shame there was something off about my memory that day. For some reason, I could not remember if they were a man or a woman. It must be the sudden time travel.
Their identity will continue to become the biggest unsolved mysteries in the world. Thank you, Christine.
On that note, we will now be moving on the key features, cultures, and historical facts of the Old English period. All of that when we come back after this short break.
This program is brought to you by Book. Book offers a monthly annual subscription of reading lists that you can curate on your own and have their physical copies delivered straight to your door. And there's more. Through the Book app, you can also book a time travel schedule for a chance to meet and greet some of your favorite authors. Download the Book app now and subscribe to Premium to get full access to all of their offers. A promo for the holidays. Get 50% off your first subscription by typing the code ELS113 and get a chance to win a signed copy of the Exeter book.
Now, back to the program.
we're back here at
ALS 113 Time Travel News. Here are the key features of the Old English language as compiled by our writers who time traveled with Marimar and Christine. Writing. Early forms of the English language were sometimes written with runes, as seen in inscription. However, a modified Roman alphabet was eventually adopted, which included special characters like the thorn and eth to represent the sound.
grammar. Old English grammar was complex. Nouns had multiple endings to indicate their function in a sentence, and pronouns had singular, plural, and even dual forms to refer to exactly two people. Verbs were either strong, changing their vowel, example given, singen to sang, or weak, adding a dental suffix like di or ti. Example given, Lufian to Lufod. Vocabulary. The vocabulary was primarily Germanic, but it was enriched by Latin loanwords due to the influence of Christianity. The meaning of many words also changed over time through processes like pejoration, becoming more negative, and amelioration, becoming more positive.
Joining us again in our report are Marimar and Christine.
Significant contributions and literature. Manuscripts. Much of what we know about Old English comes from manuscripts, many of which were copied and preserved in monasteries.
Historical records. A crucial historical source is the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, a collection of records that provides a glimpse into the evolution of the language and the history of England.
Thank you so much, Marimar and Christine, for your astounding work.
We can't wait to come back there too and share more stories.
Yes, but can we stay a little longer? I am still enjoying this journey.
No worries, you deserve some time to unwind too.
Reporting once again from the Old English period, this is Marimar Bito.
And this is Christine Lucero. Back to you, Aldrin and Christel.
To formally end today's report, the complex and fictional system of Old English began to break down in the late Old English and early Middle English periods.
This process was accelerated by the Norman conquest in 1066, which introduced a large number of French words and shifted the language's structure toward the more analytic system of word order we use today.
And there you have it, the Old English period. For more news that are old, follow our social media accounts flashes on your screen right now.
Once again, this is Cristel Janelle Aborita.
And this is Algin Kurt Ala
For
for ELS 113 Time Travel News. Thank you and goodbye.
넌 나를 보며 마치 너 달콤한 넌 나를 보며
Thank you so much, Marimar and Christine, for your astounding work. We cannot wait to have you back here in our 2050 headquarters.
2025, B.
Ay,